when they see things on TV of us swerving and making quick decisions, at the end of the day, we're traveling at the same speed. So, for us, it almost feels like slow motion. Weirdly, the calmest I am is when I'm starting first because I just feel like, there's something to look forward to, like win the race. But as soon as the engine goes on and I start the formation lap, all my nerves kind of go away.
Life on four wheels can be extremely challenging, mentally extremely tough as well, but also physically on the human body, the G-forces a body has to take into consideration and everything else that goes into it. And that's what we are here to talk to Jehan Daruvala about. We know that motorsport is big on the physical side of things. You're losing up to 3 or 4 kilos a race, but we're talking about mind over matter. How much mental stress does it take to be a motorsports person?
I think, it definitely does. Not only the driving part of it, but also, just the kind of pressure you put on yourself to perform, the pressure you go through before start of the race. Over a period of, say, karting, 10, 12 years, you learn to control that monkey, say, in your mind, which is constantly telling you what not to do, and you try to keep it under control the whole time.
It's funny, in a sport like motorsport, you don't have access to your car on a regular basis, unlike any other sports where you can hit the nets when it comes to cricket, or hit a ball across the net when it comes to tennis. So how do you mentally prepare ahead of a race? How do you channelize your thoughts?
I try to always explain also to other people, especially in a championship like Formula 2, with the tires we have, the Pirellis, we go to tracks which we've not been to before. Like, for example, we'll go to Zandvoort this year. In free practice, the tires probably last for 2 laps and then they go off. So as a driver, we have to go into like a blind faith of what we've done on the simulator and try to be as close to the limit as we can on the first lap. And that's where your mind takes over. You have to block out the stuff where the what ifs have to go away, and you just need to have that belief in your car control. That sort of stuff I think does take some time, but that's what makes motorsport so thrilling, honestly, for me as well.
Yeah, you talked about how you put the what ifs aside, but that's easier said than done, isn't it? How do you prepare for a race weekend in terms of some of the drills? You spoke about a simulator as well. Just talk us through some of those efforts.
Obviously, I do see sports specialists also. I talk to them before the weekend. It's nothing to feel embarrassed or shy about. It's what all top athletes we do to be in the best mind frame as possible. So I go into the weekend, knowing that I've prepared as best as I can mentally and physically going to the race. For example, last year, going to Monaco for the second time, going to Baku in Formula 2 cars. It's almost hard to explain how difficult it really is, but only if you prepare well mentally can you face those challenges and look up.
You've talked about making those split-second decisions. You talk to a lot of drivers in motorsport, and they talk about how the minute you start to think about a gap that isn't there, or you're hesitating about it, or you're thinking about crashing, you should just stop the sport altogether. But how hard is that not to think about, Jehan, especially if you've had a crash and you're coming off it the next weekend? How do you put that aside?
Yeah, I think coming off the next weekend sometimes is easier because you kind of switch off and switch on. But I think the hardest part is, if you crash, especially in a high-speed corner in free practice, and you need to face that corner again in qualifying, that is the hardest part. However much you tell yourself it's fine, when you arrive there, your mind always thinks, I've hit the wall there, like, an hour back or a couple hours back. So I think that's what separates the really good drivers from, the people who are just all right. I think the really good ones, in tracks like Monaco especially, the speed at which the walls come to you and stuff, it's really you're really in a proper zone there. You have no time to really think about anything at all. You only focus on your references. So for every corner, normally a driver sets a reference of here's where I'll brake, and then from there you can just maybe go a couple of meters further back, further forward. And the main thing is to really get close to the inside walls, almost feel like you're in them in tracks like Monaco and stuff. But then you go to tracks like Monza and stuff, you almost have too much time on the straights, so you have to keep the focus up even for those kind of tracks. But I was trying to explain to also like my dad, a week ago, when they see things on TV of us swerving and making quick decisions, at the end of the day, we're traveling at the same speed. So, for us, it almost feels like slow motion, the movements. So, yeah, when you do arrive to the end of the braking zone and everything stops, that's when things get tight. But on the straight, because you're moving at the same speed, the decisions kind of feel slow than they really are. Obviously, we're really used to the speed. So, they are still really, really high to make decisions at that speed at 300 to just, judge the rear wing and the front wing and stuff. I think that comes with experience. So, that's the main thing.
Jehan, there's a moment for every racing driver where I think the adrenaline's pumping more than anything else. There's this heart-pumping moment where the 5 lights are going off and you're starting and you've got 20 cars around you as well. How do you channelize all that adrenaline into that one moment to get the perfect start?
Even though I'm quite a calm person, it's obviously there's always nerves that enter at any point. Weirdly, the calmest I am is when I'm starting first, because I just feel like there's something to look forward to, like win the race. So I do get really nervous before the race. Kind of sat in the car and stuff. But as soon as the engine goes on and I start the formation lap, all my nerves kind of go away. And when I do come onto the grid and the 5 lights come on, I almost have no nerves. Because that's the time I feel in the most control, because I have control over everything that's happening. Before the race, all the people around, all the hype, all the buzz, all of that gives you the nerves. But then the engine's on, there's nothing but looking ahead, and kind of the nerves just filter away over the formation lap. And when I do come on and the lights come on, it almost feels like slow motion.
Look, we're talking about the mind and the mental side of motorsport. If there were 3 things that you could tell any upcoming racing driver that these are the 3 things mentally that you've got to do to be a top racing driver, what would they be?
I think the first thing is, even though it sounds easy, is to always remember to have fun. Like I said, it's easy to forget to have fun. Number 2 is to always believe in yourself. If the fact that you can fight with these guys, race in the front, do all of this stuff, it does mean, you're one of the few in the whole world who can do it. So you need to have that belief. And number 3, I think, is to stay, easy to say, but to stay strong in the mind. I think, like I said, you can't expect, it's not like a game of tennis. If you're better than everyone, you're always going to win. In motorsport, like I said, it's rare to win. So when you do win, the success stays even sweeter. So, you can really ride the highs and lows of the sport. And, that's one way you'll really end up succeeding.
Jehan, those are 3 great insights for any youngster as well. And thanks so much for joining us again at Man's Life. Mind over matter has been sweeter with you, and we hope you have a really sweet 2022 as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.